FACTORe.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for the invite.
We are really excited to talk to you. You've done so much throughout your career. I have so many questions. I don't really know where to begin, so I'm going to start us off with a fun one.
Okay.
Okay. Did you choose club life or did club life choose you?
Club life chose me, for sure.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was kind of a interesting scenario that got me into club life. I was in high school and a movie called Breakin' came out. And I wanted to be a break dancer so bad. I wanted to be part of a crew. Couldn't dance for anything.
Okay.
So I ended up buying this big, obnoxious boombox so I could be part of a crew, which led to me making some edit tapes and then buying a turntable and then started DJing. So me being a horrible dancer really is what got me into everything.
Wow. Okay. Everybody has their in.
Yeah, I wanted to be, I guess socially, I wanted to be part of a crew.
Yeah.
And that was my in.
See, for me, I chose club life. I didn't fit in with the skaters, didn't fit in with the jocks, didn't fit in with the nerds. And then I realized, oh my God, there was EDM and dance music, and there was just a small crowd. And I was like, club life? Oh yeah.
I get it.
So good times. You've got a lot of exciting things coming up. You've done so much. Can we talk about promoting things first?
Okay.
So you've put on a couple events.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to tell the viewers and listeners about how events are curated, how they're run. You don't have to go into specific numbers, but before, when I didn't know anything, I thought the promoters made so much money. So much money, right?
Yeah, we do.
So can you tell us what goes into planning an event, how much money it roughly takes, and booking talent and all that good stuff?
I guess we could talk about the next thing that I have coming up.
Yes.
All right. So doing a party in August called Season 3. And it's in Venice, Florida. And we have a resort that lets us buy out the entire resort. And which means I've got to buy every room for the whole weekend of the whole resort.
You have to buy the whole resort?
Yes, ahead of time. Yes. And
the entire resort?
The entire resort.
Okay.
So we do that, and we have, we're paying every day. We're not really doing the whole free J thing. So we're paying, if you want to just go over typical budget, we've got over $9,000 in fees just for the local support. So we're pumping a lot of money back into the local scene by doing that. We've got another maybe $20,000 in headliners. Security's $5,000. $5,000 in promotions. I forget all the little bitty things that are there, but I think that the budget for the show is probably about $90,000.
Wow. And do you need to sell a certain number of tickets or have certain alcohol sales? I don't know how all this works.
We have some alcohol sponsors.
Okay.
We have some other things, ticket sales and room sales. Since we have the rooms, we obviously can upsell the rooms, single day tickets, things like that. But really, my partner and I probably aren't super business savvy because our return on investment's terrible.
Okay.
Like in a perfect world, we might make back 15 to 20%, which is not good. And that's a complete sellout. And we're throwing the thing in the middle of August when there could be storms.
I didn't even think about that.
So yes, it's there's a lot of risk involved, but I mean, because now I don't do this. I don't throw parties for a living. I throw it because I love the scene. And Fortunately, my partner and I have very good day jobs that allow us to do this. And this is kind of our, I hate to say it, but like hobby.
Yeah.
It's I mean, and it's something that we love to do. I mean, I did it for a living for a long time, and the stress of, oh my gosh, what's my break even point? What is my what do we got to do to make profit? What do we got to do to pay the bills? When you start getting into that mindset, I think it really takes away and detracts from the event, the party. So I think that one of the reasons why our events are so good is because we really aren't doing it to try to profit. We're doing it to make a very good event that people like. So hopefully you'll come out to this thing we're doing.
Of course. I love that. So you're truly doing it for the music?
For the music and the experience. The things that we do, we've got themes. We have every half a day is a different theme. We have different types of performers come in because our event, we have the resort all night. It's 24/7. It doesn't stop, right? So
everybody rest up.
rest up,
guys.
rest up. So we're doing a Vegas theme this year. So we're going to do, if you and your partner come or you come by yourself, we have a big a church facade so you can get pictures of your fake Vegas wedding. We've got
I actually got married in Vegas.
Yeah. So you can get fake married at our party in Vegas style. We're gonna have people dressed up like Elvis, like showgirls, like all sorts of things. So it's really a community, and a lot of this came from just years of experience of seeing what's worked in different markets. The music is fantastic. We have booked people that we love, and we know enough to know that we don't know everything. So what we've done is we've got 4 to 5 of the bigger promoters in this local area that we have partnered with.
I saw that.
So it's not like, hey, this is us doing this. This whole thing is the community's doing it. We've got a night of drum and bass. We've got Code Lockdown. We've got 1-800-COLLECT. We've got late night flights. They all do their thing better than we do. They all have their own individual thing that they do, but we just want to get our whole thing is getting everybody together and sharing. An experience is an experience.
I think you did such a good job with bringing in the local talent. I mean, it really put a smile on my face when I saw Luke Lethal, Luna Falls, Ketone, the Late Night Flight guys. I mean, just so many people are like getting their chance to perform at a big event, a festival, if you will. I mean, and I thought that was really great, and it made me happy to see that a lot of our local people are going to get this chance.
They deserve it. I mean, I go out, you'll see, Zach and that's my partner and I, you'll see us week in and week out at parties and listening to different DJs and stuff. And there's so many like really, really good DJs. The ones you mentioned, fantastic in this area. Right. And we've got OGs like Luis Martinez who was on the show. Yeah. We've got, all these up and coming new people like Luna's relatively new, but she's absolutely crushing stuff right now. And we have groups that are unlikely to be together. They're going to be together for one weekend. Yeah. And it's because we all share the same goal. We want to all have fun. We want to share our music. We want to, and I think because it's a weekend thing, it's what makes it a little different. Say you go to a club night or something that one of these groups is doing, you go there, you have fantastic music. Everybody's, tuning in, listening to what's playing. At the end of the night, everybody goes home. Now you're there for 3 days. So you can talk. You're spending time together. You're finding out stuff about these people that you would never ever find out shouting with them at a nightclub.
Yeah, the facts. And you've got your flyers out, and you've got a couple headliners. You want to talk about some of the headliners that are going to be there?
We've got Vanessa, who is just blowing up right now. She was hanging out with us on Groove Cruise, another thing that we do. And she was so good of a DJ and such a cool person. we're like, we book people we like, right? It's like not only is the music good, but people that are our vibe. And she is she's a rising star, superstar, but she's super, super, super cool. Then we've got Black V-neck. We were at the after hours for the what took the place of Sunset this year. It was
Breakaway. Thank
Breakaway.
you.
The after party for Breakaway. We met one of the guys from Black V-neck who played an unannounced party. And we're like, wow, incredibly good. So he asked us to come up there with him. It was nice, great music. Booked him. We wanted to branch out this year, so we've got these two young promoters that are absolutely crushing it right now. They just did a party last weekend for home base. It's Code Lockdown. It's Diego and Chris, and they're bringing in Space Wizard, Artifacts, and some other like melodic dub stuff. So we're really trying to. I mean, we've got techno, dubstep, breaks, drum and bass, all these different genres that. And what's beautiful about it, there's something that you don't like, there's 3 rooms going on. You just pop to the next room. But what's also really cool about it, you might go listen to something you never would have gone out and seen.
I love when that happens. I saw Gordo. Wasn't a fan. And then I just ended up at the stage he was at We Belong Here. And I was like, holy cow, this dude put on such a great set. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of an artist called Apache, but I never heard of him, and it was just great. It was such a different style of music that I normally wouldn't go to because I'm a melodic house girl.
So, right, it's right, and that's the thing, right? So I think where I got my first taste of that wide of a variety was on Groove Cruise. On Groove Cruise, you're kind of stuck. You're on a boat, right? So you can go from room to room to room for 4 days straight. Music never stops, and that's where I heard Closey for the first time. And I really wasn't into dub music or things like that, and I was like blown away. And so it's like, because I guess the reason why say I'm going to go out on a Saturday night, I'm looking at the different flyers. I'm looking at the venues. I'm going to go to something that I like because I don't want to waste a night on something that I don't like, right? But turns out some of those things I wouldn't go to, I would have loved. But I just go to what? Safe.
Yeah.
These events like this, you can step outside of safe, and that's fun.
I like that. I think you probably just sold a lot of viewers right now on going just with that one statement. You did mention Groove Cruise, and I'm wondering if you can share your experience, because I looked into going for 2025 and I chickened out, and I was like, I don't think I could handle being stuck on a boat. And like, is there quietness? Like, I mean, what, like,
is there quietness?
Does it get out of control?
No, okay, because it's it's a little bit more mature. It's not cheap, right?
Right.
So there's not as many kids as at a normal festival.
Okay.
So people that are there are a little bit more responsible, and because you're all there together, you look out for each other, and it's a community. And me, you, and 3 other people go out in St. Pete. One of us gets tired. They're either stuck at a club tired, or we're all leaving before we want to. On the boat, just go to your cabin, right? So you're really not on a schedule. You're not on a. It's really, you're able to explore and watch. Another beautiful thing about Groove Cruise, you're all there together. So you're eating at the same cafeteria as Marcus Schultz, John Summit, these people, right? There's no VIP. You're all on the boat together.
So you actually could see these artists.
Oh, absolutely, you do. But the thing is, everyone respects their space.
Yeah.
And if they talk to you, they talk to you. If they don't, they don't. But it's not like there's this big separation between the people on the stage and the people in the crowd. Because when you'll be in the crowd and you'll see all these famous people out there dancing. And I think it's good for them too, because it gets them back to why they started in the first place.
Their why. I think that's great because I feel like nowadays, and this is just my opinion, so take it at face value, I think there's a lot of artists that lose themselves along the way and forget their why. And they want to be so commercialized, and now people are in it for the wrong reasons.
I can agree with that. And I think that because there's so much money at that level and so much power that comes with that and so much influence that comes with that, a lot of times that makes people behave in ways they normally wouldn't behave in a normal situation, unfortunately. And it's not like that with just the music industry. You take politicians, anybody in power, people, clergy at church. You get people that have enough money and enough power, and they, for whatever reason, I think money and power is a very crazy drug that a lot of people aren't skilled to handle.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Have you visited a lot of different countries? Have you gotten to play around the world? I mean,
yeah.
Where's one of your favorite places to play? Not in Florida.
Probably in Kent, in France. I got to play the opening party for Madame and for DJ, I think it was DJ Mag. No, it's DJ International. She threw that event, and I got to do the official opening party there with Aphrodite and Frankie Bones, which was a very interesting two people to play with.
Okay.
But it was like my first time in a real kind of a global setting, and because that's a conference, it's kind of like Winter Music Conference is here. That's one of the big ones over in Europe that happens in France, and it was just an amazing experience because you're seeing people from all different. It was a melting pot at this place, a true melting pot of the world, and that was a really, really cool place to play. And then you see that people from all over the world love that thing to dance.
Isn't it crazy that music unites us all?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've met people from other countries or other social circles just like randomly, and that's what I love about the scene is you can go somewhere by yourself and then leave with the new best friends.
Yes, it's a community.
Yeah.
It's a family, it's a community. Like every family, there's sometimes some of the members aren't great, but it's still a family, right? So.
Do you think we've seen a decline in plur?
In plur, peace, love, unity, and respect. I think that we have seen with social media. I say that with my social media here manager filming us right now, but I feel that we have come to a place where being seen on different platforms and things like that is such an important part of what we do, getting us booked, getting the message out, that it kind of gets lost, unfortunately, because it's the rat race and how much content and how much you have to have your appearance being X, Y, and Z has to go out there that people sometimes don't stop to check on their fellow artists or their patrons or things, because you never know. I think people are very focused on self these days. And I don't think that's just in the music industry. I think that social media across the board has created this whole, thing of look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Yeah. I think that's a fair statement. Absolutely. I'm looking at your hat and I see you've got EDC on it. Oh, it says it doesn't stop.
It just doesn't stop. Yeah. So these beautiful people, Wade and Julie, they live in Missouri. They are Groove Cruisers.
Okay.
And that's where we met them. And I guess several cruises ago, Wade's like talking about the Groove Cruise. He goes, it just doesn't stop. And so he started doing these hats and saying it, and it's kind of a brand. He maybe start to sell stuff, but he was just like, we became very good friends, and he will give these hats out to artists and things that he loves. So this is very precious to me because a very good friend custom made it for me, and you never know. You get one of these hats, it's like a rite of passage.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then you like see somebody like
Yeah.
at a random place with the same hat, and you have something to connect over.
Yeah. So they're definitely they're going to be at the event in August. They're coming. Yeah. So.
Well, we'll look out for them. Talk to us about EDC.
EDC. Wow. It's something else. It was I can talk about the last one. I can't talk about what's coming up because they're very secretive about what you can say, you can't say as far as lineups and things like that. I have played EDC. I played it last year. I've never seen that many people in one spot.
Okay.
And Insomniac, what they do for artists, I mean, they roll out the red carpet. They understand how important the artist is, and they really, I mean, we were fed. We had, if we wanted our hair done, if we wanted makeup done, if we wanted a massage, like the green room there is not like any other green room. It's a whole crazy world like nothing I've ever seen, and they really, really do treat the artists like because we're the lifeblood of what they do.
Yeah. And
they know it, and they treat it so well. And to be able to play in front of a crowd like that, it was surreal. As it's happening, you can't believe that it's happening. But yeah, hopefully one day I can go back and do it again.
That's amazing. That was one of your like life movie magic moments?
It was definitely a bucket list thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, I've been fortunate enough. I got to play Sunset Music Festival. I got to play Ultra, EDC, Amsterdam Dance Event. So I've been fortunate enough to be, and this is the thing, there's a lot of people out there with skills that I have. I just got in front of the right people at the right time, and they liked what I was doing, and it happened. And I feel very, very fortunate that it did, because there's a lot of deserving people out there that it hasn't happened for.
Yeah. I feel like you said we live in this like now society.
Yes.
How long did it take you to develop your craft and then be able to play overseas, be booked on big events and festivals? I mean, was this an instant gratification, or did this take decades to build?
Oh, decades to build. So let's go back to the beginning, because where this whole thing started. Grew up in a small podunk town in southern Illinois.
Okay.
And this is right around the time that house music was just beginning in Chicago. And it was a college town. So these people, the college kids, would come down and they would have these mixtapes and things like that. And I was like, oh, that's wild. And this was when I was DJing. I had been DJing because I couldn't dance, if you remember.
Right.
So I was DJing in the clubs, and all of a sudden I started, buying music from Chicago. And then I got on a mix show on the radio. And there's a very famous penitentiary close to where we live. And someone... Too Cool Chris, Too Cool Chris, who is one of the guys that was doing the house music way back in the day, was locked up for being a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And he started handwriting me letters from jail saying, oh, I love your show. I love what you're doing.
Get out.
And
handwritten letters.
Yes, that's how else are you going to get it from jail, right? So he would send them to the radio station. I would get them. And then from that, I booked... there's one of the old school OGs of house music, Bad Boy Bill.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I would book him to come down to the club. And so through this, Too Cool Chris got out. He's really good friends with Bad Boy Bill. I started talking to Bill, all this. Bill hired me as an A&R director at his label, moved to Chicago. So I got to see one of the hardest working guys in this industry from the very beginning. I saw Bad Boy Bill, what he did, the hustle, what he had to do to come up, and I that type of learning is invaluable. So I saw all these things that he went through, and then I learned in the studio, and I was writing music, and then I was able to get production on, because I helped out with production, so I was able to get on records that went number one on Billboard. I did a thing with Bill for Martha Wash, "Catch the Light," went number one in the not just the dance, it went like number one. So I got to really cut my chops with someone who does this on a level that few people do, and to sit there in the room with him and see this day in and day out and know what it takes, I knew what I was getting into, and that really gave me the drive to do it.
Wow. That's amazing. I was not expecting to hear Bad Boy Bill out of your mouth. He was here last year, I think, at Water.
At Water, yes.
Yeah, that was a good show. How this industry, like other industries, you said, has its good and its really, really bad parts.
Mm-hmm.
How did you stay focused? Did you ever have periods where they were ugly periods and you might have, taken it a little too far?
I think because I spent so much time in the nightclubs before I got into the scene, I saw the effect. I never really partied at work because I treat it like a job.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're the sober person around a bunch of people that are partying, it makes it less appealing to you. And so I never really got into that. I would party at after parties and stuff like that, but I never really got caught up in all that because I really saw it destroy a lot of people around me that I cared about.
Yeah.
And Bill never did it. Never. I mean, I think that one time, I mean, he'd never partied. I saw him, he would have a beer every now and again. He had some champagne at New Year's, but I mean, it was something that serious. You don't want to mess it up.
Wow.
Yeah. But I did see things that were going on, and I'm not saying that I didn't participate after hours, or if I was a club goer myself, right? But not while I'm working. And I was always so worried about being seen with that image that's really something that behind closed doors.
Yeah. How hard? I like to ask all these artists these questions because we have relationships, and I'm finding out it's really hard. And it's challenging to have relationships within this industry. Can you share some of your struggles and challenges with that, if you feel comfortable?
Oh, yeah. When I was traveling all over, it was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, I was young, and it's like when I was through I went through some different stages where I did I went on tour with Play Boy. It's really hard to have a relationship when you're doing that. Mm-hmm. I did 2 seasons on MTV Campus Invasion Tour, where I did a bus tour with MTV for 2 years. It was that's hard to have a relationship with that type of thing going on. And I did this. I grinded it out. 2005, I stepped away from the scene.
Oh, you just took a break?
I took a break, and I didn't come back till 3 years ago. I had that big of a break. In the midst of that break, I met a wonderful girl, not in the scene. She was into New Order and these things, which
okay.
which I am too. And we got married, and she absolutely loves the scene. She's supportive. She travels, with me. She understands what everything is. And I'm older, so it's I'm not really interested in all the craziness now. And I think it was really, really hard on relationships the first time I did this.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm doing it again, I couldn't do it without her.
I love that. I like that you took a break and you met your person. Would you say it's better to be understood or better to be accepted?
I think if you try to be accepted, I think that could be a crazy thing to chase because no matter who you are, what you do, unfortunately there's going to be large groups of people that don't accept you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more important to be understood, but I think it's the most important to accept yourself.
Look at you in those wise words today. You're saying some really good stuff.
Well, I mean, when you have the old guys come in, we've been through it. We've been through a lot. So it's like to get this far, you really kind of have to learn along the way, and it's always a learning. It's always a learning situation. I've never ever stopped learning.
I feel like if you're not learning, you're dying.
Mm-hmm. I think in everything, right? It's like you're in any kind of relationship, business relationship, personal relationships, your spiritual journey. If you're not growing, there's no such thing as just treading water. You're going either one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that in every single relationship you have in your life. So if you're not working on something, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah. Do you find it hard to balance your professional career outside of music, your home life, and then music? How do you find a good balance to all of that?
I feel that it's pretty easy because there's no pressure on the music now.
Okay.
I don't do it for, everything that comes to me is a blessing. Everything that I have happen is a blessing. When I write music now, when I'm writing a song, I'm not thinking, gosh, how many units of this do I need to sell to stay signed to this label? Or how many units of this do I have to sell to break even? As a label owner, it's no pressure anymore. And when I got back into this, oddly enough, my guy that's a partner with me used to bring me to Nashville years ago. He was a promoter and always had a good relationship. And he was also out of the industry for this long time. And when we first started, we said, the day this isn't fun anymore, we quit. And that's how we are.
Okay.
If it's not the day that it's not fun, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I mean, it's such a part of us. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
And we don't do anything because we don't have to do this. We just don't. If it's something we don't want to do, we don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me into one of my questions I had for you. So we talked about season 3. I want to talk about your music and how you create and how you come up with your thing. So let's like, I really liked Free that you sent me. I don't know if I want to talk about
yes.
that.
Let's talk about
Okay.
Free. Okay. There is an artist named BT. Not sure if you're familiar with that is, but he did a lot of the style of vocal editing back in the day. And you're a vocalist?
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably noticed there was quite a bit of processing and stutters. And I think that a lot of times what gets lost in a vocal track is there needs to be meaning behind the words, but also you have to remember that the human voice is also a beautiful instrument. So rather than just play on that particular song, just instead of the words that are being sung, I think that it was done in a way that was musical, and the voice was done in a way that it wasn't intended for. We repurposed the vocal.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It came out great, and I loved the stuttering effect. And I know, to me, it's like whoever's the vocalist on that track has a really, really pretty voice.
Thank you. That's me. That is 100% created through AI. That's me singing.
Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious.
Are we talking about, I just want to make sure,
Free.
are we talking about the same song with like the lady singing?
Yes.
You're going to put people out of work. You're going to put people like me out of work.
No. Because here's the thing. It's got all those stuttering effects, all those cool things right there. But still, by itself, I'll send you the acapella pre-stutter,
Okay.
and you'll see it's a little soulless because it can't do the runs and the hums and and you don't hear the breath. You're gonna go back now and you're gonna be like, oh, this is AI. I hate this.
I'm so but like I feel like you're just crushing one of my dreams right now, because this is a big thing I've been seeing on Instagram is AI is gonna take over music.
Never. Well, I say that, but
Well,
I think with you're a singer, right? Vocalist. You can use it for. Have you ever thought, man, I'd really love to do this duet with someone that sing this way or something like that? You could create it and do it right here in the studio.
mm-hmm.
And what's really cool about it, there's a lot of cool things about it. There's a lot of things that are, I mean, I'm the old guy with the new technology. It's like, yeah, it's an interesting thing, the AI vocals, but they're not there yet. So that's why we did all the creative stuttering. That's why.
Well, I think it's a really pretty track, so I enjoy the vocals, even though
you got to meet the vocalist today too.
Aren't I a lucky girl? I mean, I don't understand producing. I heard something go off. Are we good? Okay. I don't understand producing. I don't understand, I guess, how the songs are made. So usually when somebody sends me something, it's just the instrumental track. So how do you start off? I mean, are you in a mood, or do you have an idea? I mean, what creates it for you?
I basically usually start with a chord progression.
Okay.
Right, something that means something to me, or something that feels good to me.
Do you play any instruments?
I play the mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people are they're like, this guy makes these songs. He does it. I played percussion all through school. I played 2 years at baritone. Boom, boom. Not cool enough to be a tuba. Not good enough to play trumpet, so they stuck me with a baritone. So do I have some background? Yes. But do I know what goes with what? Yes. Do I have perfect pitch? No. And there's a lot of experimenting when you write like I do. So I come up with a chord progression and then some melody on top of that. And I think you see the stuff that I do is very like percussion driven.
Yeah.
It's very much, coming up with these different pieces that go together, and you're creating different, loops and things, and to me it's like a puzzle. And I guess I don't know. I've never been diagnosed. I'm probably ADD or ADHD. So it's therapy for me, because there's all these different things, and I'm listening to different things and how they would go together, and how, just when I was small, my mom said I would sit there and stare at records and play them on different speeds and move them around as a baby. And she thought that there was something wrong with me. Like she thought that there probably was. And it just wasn't. I'm so old. There was just.
You're so old. You're only as old as you feel.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I'm 28.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's just back in that day, there was not really any diagnosis for people that had ADD or ADHD. So we were kind of left to our own devices, and music ended up being mine. So I learned to self-soothe through music.
Okay, so you're at home, you're putting together a chord progression and messing around on the computer. What programs do you use?
Ableton.
Okay.
I'm an Ableton person. Started off back in the day with either Cakewalk or Cubase, and all the keyboards, we had to hook them up with MIDI. The first, kind of known for breakbeats. The first breakbeat record I ever did was on an MPC 2000. And interesting, breaks are super big in Florida, non-existent in Chicago. I was living in Chicago.
Okay.
And came down for Winter Music Conference, and Rick West gave me a CD Went back up to Chicago. I was like, what's this stuff? I like this. It's
What's
really
a CD?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna have a drink of my path water and pretend I'm drinking tears.
You remember the Napster days?
Napster day. Okay. Do I remember the Napster days? The Napster days is one of the things that led to me having to get a real job and getting out of the industry.
Really?
Yes, because back when I was making music and running a label, we had vinyl and records.
Oh, that's right.
And so we had something tangible to sell.
An actual physical product.
Right. So I write this track, I get it mastered, I send it to Neil at the Exchange in the UK. He cuts plates, send it back, we get it pressed. There's a whole process involved, and you have a product to sell. And if you wanted to be a DJ, you wanted to do something, you had to go to the store, you had to buy that. You couldn't. And as soon as digital happened, it's like now the value of what you did changed. Now, I'm not going to be one of these people that's salty about it and say, oh, digital ruined everything. Digital made everything better. And I say that because now people that couldn't afford to do the vinyl, people that couldn't afford the technology with all the keyboards, now anybody can write music. Anybody can put music out. So I think the more people that are able to do it, it's going to breed more music, more styles, more things. So if you don't do it on a high level, it's really, really, really hard now, but it's really, really easy to do it and get music out.
Yeah.
Not easy to do it and succeed at it. Two different things.
Yeah. Yeah, that second part.
Well, I mean, you've got to think about, right? Back in the day, you had to put a lot of money out for the product. You made the CDs and things like that. You sent them to the stores. You had to pay for all that stuff up front. They didn't sell them all. They charge them back to you. So yeah, there was a lot of risk involved. So when you did something, you had to ask yourself, is this commercially viable? Is this going to be something that sells? Now there's no risk. You can put out something that's completely crap. Didn't cost you anything to put it out. You go to DistroKid, release it. Hey, check out my new record, right? So, and it cost you nothing. So I think that it makes it harder to find music because you're sifting through a lot more music now. And I don't know, it's just something tangible about having something in your hand that just makes it a little bit different. But like I said, because things are digital now, there's so many new artists that we love that would never have made it if they would have had to do it in the old way.
Yeah.
So
who are some of your favorite artists?
Ooh.
Like old and new.
I mean, I really do have to. I owe so much of what I do and who I am from watching Bad Boy Bill, right? So definitely a place in my heart there. This style of music I do now, I love Frankie Wah. There's so many. Yodo.
Love Yodo.
Yeah.
I saw him live, and I mean,
Lane 8.
love Lane 8. Saw him live too.
Yeah. I tell you, Lane 8, went to Lane 8 show in Orlando. They made us all put tape over our cameras.
I love that.
And so everybody, it was a different vibe, right? It wasn't, people were dancing. There's this myth that back in the day, everybody didn't face the DJ, which isn't.
Are you here to debunk that? I'm
here to debunk that.
Yes.
Because the speakers were on both sides of the DJ.
Okay.
Everybody were facing the speakers, which indirectly had you facing
people,
the DJ.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the whole, we didn't know where the DJ was thing. I mean, that's how you got people at the parties. You book the big DJs. right? So there were stars back then. You know, there was the Tiesto, there was the Sasha, the Digweed, the Kyoki, the
Digweed, I think, was just here.
yeah. So it I don't understand how that I think people are so over people with the phones that they are making this whole fantasy up about, and there were places,
Yeah.
you know, like Crowbar in Chicago, Ministry of Sound, places like that where the DJ booth was up tucked somewhere. Biggest clubs, great things, you know, the vibe was there. But as a DJ, it's not about look at me, but I want to feel the energy from the crowd. If I feel like if I'm tucked away in some back room, how do I know what's going on? How do I feel the pulse of the dance floor? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I think you're definitely like bringing up a good point. You do not strike me as the person to shy away from maybe a challenging or difficult question.
No.
And we've seen a few posts online, and there's been some valid concerns. One that was recently brought up is venues. The venues are disappearing. I think, is it the factory that just sold?
I don't know. Rumor has it the factory sold parts of it.
It's gonna be pickleball courts.
They're going to take some of the places to pickleball courts, but there's still some big events that are coming up there, like Greco's doing. Let me talk about this guy. I don't know how old he is. He seems young, but he's got this old school.
Who's this guy?
Thomas Greco from Odyssey Music Festival. The way that he's going about it, the branding, the everything, it's like you can look at this person and be like, man, this is only the third year of that show, but you would think that it's been around forever, right? I mean, it's like him and Christine, his girl, do such a fantastic job of putting this on. And I just like, there's local people in the scene like that. And I just love what they're doing. I mean, I've lived in a lot of places. This is a great place to live if you like music. There's a lot going on.
There's always something happening. So, but back to I want to circle back up to the venues. You know, we lost PTL, and I thought that was a really cool, like that was a vibe in itself.
Yes.
We don't know what's going on with the factory, so we'll say that, but like we can't confirm or really deny anything at this time. What do you think about, what are people going to do for, I mean, we can't, here we go again. We can't rely on the Ritz to bring in certain artists.
That is the $1 million question. And so the venues have to make money. And here's what I've seen. Right when COVID was over. Right? Everybody had been stuck inside for so long. Everybody came out right after COVID. So many places could make it because everybody was out every weekend. And all these places were packed. Turnout's low now compared to how it was then. And because things were so good back then, the headliners' fees went up, right? And so say to get say an Anjuna artist. I won't mention names or anything, but you're talking, you're in a $5,000-$6,000 range, right? So you're probably at your local club night. You're probably going to maybe get 300 people for that artist, right? How does the club make enough money? How does people aren't going to pay $80, $90 to go in for a regular Saturday night. Right. So what's happened in my eyes is people, the venues and the promoters and the artists, there's got to be some kind of a reset because the fees are crazy. If I want to go rent a venue to throw a party, their fees are crazy. There's production rental, sound rental. There's, all these fees. You have to have insurance in case something happens. It's just like there's a lot going on, but at the same time, there's not enough going on to afford to keep at it at the pace that it was going. So it seems like we're losing places, which we are, and it's always going to be attrition. And there's going to be new places that come up. There's going to be new things that happen. And like anything, it seems like the haves and the have-nots, there's a bigger and bigger gap, right? You're insomniacs and they can do these big events. If I'm paying $1,200 to go for a weekend plus the hotels and everything, how much money am I going to have left to put in the local scene? And you've got so many good promoters here. It's not like, oh, hey, on this Saturday night, let's go to this promoter's night. You've got, and I think that's where a lot of the ego, the infighting, the competition goes, because it is competition for them. Because anytime you throw an event in Tampa St. Pete, you're going up against at least 6 to 7 other shows that same night. And there's just not enough people to support that.
We've also seen this online. There's been a lot of online chatter about we're not seeing as many as commercial artists come through Tampa as we did like a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that? Because we'll take Anjuna, for example. They just announced 2 big artists to play in the fall in Orlando. And it's like, I'm going to go to the show, but now it's like, all right, I got to get a hotel. I got to drive. Mm-hmm. But we haven't seen really a bigger artist in Tampa, I think.
There were some great shows that you mentioned PTL, Late Night Flights. Oh. Fantastic promotion group. Yeah. They brought in like Jody and Marsh, and Yodo came and did a show. And the problem is like, those are not cheap artists. Yeah. And if you were at these shows, I mean,
paying like $25 a ticket. It was great.
Right? I mean, how many people do you feel were there at those shows?
I can remember.
Yeah, that you can remember.
I want to say like probably like not sold out. I don't think they were anywhere near sold out.
So you got to think they had to pay the cut to the venue.
Right.
They had to, pay for the promotion. They had to pay for their other DJs. It's just not easy. People, you ask why these artists aren't coming through? Money. That's it. Okay. I mean, there's no other reason. If people could at least even break even with it, more of it would happen. But there's not a lot of promoters out there that are doing it the same as kind of like what we're doing it. Like, it's not our job. So if we lose some money on a show, we're still eating, right? We're still paying our mortgage. The one of us, they're throwing big shows and getting turnouts. Yeah. Like,
they brought in Camel Fat.
Yeah, we helped with some production with that show. But Camel Fat, there's 2,000 or 3,000 people, right? Yeah, that was great show. But I mean, there's not a lot of promoters that can afford to pay an artist $50,000.
Wow.
So I mean,
that's important for the people to know. I feel like because a lot of people don't know like what it costs to throw these parties, to throw these events, to bring.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? It's like Camel Fat's fantastic. All these Anjuna artists are fantastic, but guess what? There's a ton of local artists that are fantastic, and there's a lot of people that won't go out if it's not a big name, and that's frustrating to me because you've got to support. If you're not out there supporting your local scene, if you're not supporting 1-800-COLLECT, Late Night Flights, all these other, really good groups that are doing these things, if you're not supporting them, the big name artists aren't going to work either. Yeah. You've got to go and support the shows for all these people. And I think that because right after COVID, so many big artists came through every week, as a community, we got spoiled.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I remember PTL like every weekend. It was great music. I mean, Lyndon brought in great people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the Ritz for a while was bringing in, and they've I think chosen to go in a different direction with their music. But they used to bring in, they brought in Tin Liquor last year. I've seen Camel Fat there, Cosmic Gate.
Well, even before PTL, I mean, I saw some great shows that late night through. I forgot the name of the
Ichikoro?
No, after that, it was like a outside place.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's condos now, right?
Yeah.
So I saw Garden State there. I saw Jody there. I saw Tin Liquor there. So the thing is, you can only do that for so long if people show up.
Yeah.
And the thing is if you show up, say this this production or promotion group does a party with all their locals, go show up, pay the money, because a lot of times they're going to take what are the profits and stuff they make and put it back in and bring some bigger artists. But if you're not showing up to their regular shows, it's just not, nobody likes to just burn money.
Yeah.
And it sucks that that plays a role in it.
But it does. You know who I think is new on the scene this year is, what's Carson's group?
Oh, the freaking guys. So we also do sound. So Zach and I did sound for them last weekend.
Okay.
And man, they really do a great job of grassroots. Like, they bring in some mid-tier headliners, but they're doing it with mostly locals.
Yeah.
And they do it with themes.
I love that.
People like to do things. If in this, the music's great, it's very important, but people like to do stuff. We're so, in every aspect of our life, we need that stimulation.
Yeah.
And you want to be part of it, right? It's one thing, I'm paying this money to go there, sit there and look at someone, but if I can be part of the show, if I can have a cool outfit, if I can dress up like whatever and go out, I mean, now I'm not just a fan. Now I'm part of what's going on, right? So they have done such a good job of building community. Divine Freak Collective.
Yeah.
Divine Freaks. We're essential freaks. That if there's not a
Freak.
Like a freak fest that goes on with us and them collabing, the world's wrong.
Now this is, I mean, you're really giving us some amazing outlooks and opinions and advice on this, and I'm like trying to process all this in, just from your Insomniac stuff, just to how much it takes to put on an event, supporting the local scene, all that. But let's bring this back to you. What are you working on right now besides season 3? Do you have any new music coming out?
Yes.
Going on tour? What are we doing?
I've got let's talk about music coming out.
Okay.
This week I've got a song called Falling coming out on Fluenta, which is a label out of Denmark.
Okay.
And I've got another remix coming out on Strip Recording out of the UK. And I've got, good grief, I've got the song that you liked is coming out on Black Hole, which is Tiesto's thing that he started.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's funny. It's like I always looked up to like Tiesto when he started this label, and I was able to hook up with this girl Zoya, who has some stuff on Anjuna and that, and so we co-wrote some stuff, and she walked it into their label, and that opened the door for me. And that's the industry are things like that. You need people that say they do this all on their own. There's no way. You have to have things happen.
That's for everything in life.
Yeah.
Everything in life.
You have to do that. So, I mean, she was such a blessing. I mean, it was such an odd way that we met. She did a show, met a guy, lived in Bradenton. She was dating this guy in Bradenton, so she was there. So it was just by chance that we crossed paths.
Okay.
Right? That never would have happened. Like, and then like Anjuna is like one of those labels, and to write music with someone that is on one of those labels was like, well, who wouldn't, right? And so now I've got like 14 tracks coming out, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I write a lot. I wake up in the morning about 4 a.m.
Are you like me? You're an early bird.
Early bird.
Are you at the
Early
gym?
bird. And because my mind is quiet, right? At the end of the day, there's so many things and I can't quiet it down. So I write music until my wife wakes up, and then I go do my regular day, and I end up with I'm on a pretty crazy, I mean, it's almost like every 2 weeks there's a new song.
Wow.
But the record label's doing fantastic, the music's doing fantastic. Tour, going to some upcoming places I'm playing, Memphis, Nashville, Montana. I've never been to Montana
Is
before.
there going to be a rave in Montana?
Yes.
Are you going to throw the first rave in Montana?
I'm not throwing. I'm going to it,
Are
and
you
it's not the first. I'm playing it. It's. I saw the pictures. Some of my friends played it before, and I usually don't call up promoters, but I did, and her name's Annie, and I was like, Annie, I got to get on this show. I've got to get on this show. I want to play Montana. So yeah, we're gonna go play Montana. Got something coming up in Spain, Holland. Yeah, Amsterdam Dance Event. So the record label, the bigger one that I'm signed to, Black Hole, and Magic Music, which are the ones that, like Tiesto's thing.
Okay.
They're in. That's where their home is. So.
Wow, you have a lot going on.
There's a lot to juggle. Yeah.
What, as we're wrapping things up, what do you want to leave the viewers with? Do you have any words of wisdom, any advice, do's and don'ts?
Life is short. We're here to lift each other up. And when you're doing this career stuff like that, like if you're in the music industry and things like this, you can talk to anybody that was in a band for a long time or do this for a long time. I don't know if you've ever parachuted, but you jump out of an airplane, it doesn't feel like you're moving at all, like the ground. But as you get closer and closer and closer to the ground, things come faster, faster, faster. So you've only got so much time to do this, right? You've got a window. And as you want to make the most of every minute, every day, and there's no time to have beefs with people. There's no time to argue with people. That ground's going to come faster and faster, and you've got to make the most of every single minute.
That was great. That was really good.
The ground's coming fast.
The ground's coming fast. I want to thank you so much just for taking the time to talk to me, driving up this way. I had a really, really fun time doing this with you, and it was nice getting to know you as well.
You as well, and I'm glad that you invited us. I don't know like how you came across me or whatever, but I'm certainly would like to thank whoever that was.
I saw a post, Tom Greco, somebody tagged him and tagged you, and it was all you guys on Groove Cruise. And I was like, who are these people? Like, how are they on a boat and they're still partying? Like, what is going on? And Dan Zumbro, who runs the Facebook page, also speaks very highly of you.
We love Dan.
Dan is he's awesome.
And I mean, another very important thing, you always stay hydrated with Path water.
All right, guys. Well, with that, I think we're gonna wrap this up, and folks, we will see you soon, and stay tuned. Bye, guys.
Bye.